Hi guys, this is Elk. I'm here in Salt Lake City this weekend with my friend Pifa. She's a musician, I'm a sound healer, and we've been playing with a few different instruments. One of the really interesting ones I thought were these crystal sound bowls. Obviously, as a sound healer, I've used them, I have some training in them, but it's not an instrument I tend to use very much. I prefer others. And we laid them all out and we noticed that there were some really interesting problems with them, and we started really dissecting what all the problems were. And my hope is that you will be able to learn something, because maybe you are thinking about starting a sound healing practice. Maybe you're in the middle of your study and you are thinking it's probably time to buy some bowls. What do I want to do? What do I not want to do? Maybe you are just a person who likes to go to a sound bath and you kind of want to know a little bit about what happens behind the scenes. I think there's something for everyone with that video, so I hope you learned something. I'll give you some information about crystal singing bowls today. Full disclosure, I usually use the Himalayan bowls. I like the timbre of the metal, but I do have training with the crystal bowls, and I see a lot of mistakes at sound baths all over the place, and I'm hoping maybe this will help you alleviate some of those mistakes. So, first one, it is worth saving up your money to buy your whole set of bowls all at once. This is way less important with the metal bowls. Oftentimes it's like a collection of antiques that maybe some modern handmade singing bowls, but and you put them together over time. But with the crystal bowls, they should be tuned, theoretically they should be tuned perfectly. I find they're often not, but they're at least should be relative to one another, sound good. If you buy them all at once from one maker at one time from one factory run. If you don't, and you're trying to put a set together, you end up with sort of weird situations. So let me see. I can't count. This is the G, and this is the F. The G should be smaller than the F. It should be graduated by size. Part of the reason for this is it just makes it easier to set up. You start with your big middle C bowl and you just work your way around. You don't have to think while you're getting set up. You can just put it together and worry about other things like centering yourself and getting in good headspace and making sure that the space that you're trying to make for your clients is nice. You don't want to be sitting there trying to think, okay, hold on, was this F and that was G? Yeah, it's a hassle. It's easier to just have one group visually represented, largest to smallest, and as you can see, that is not what happened here. A and the B are almost exactly the same size as well here, and it's making your life more difficult. It is also way more difficult to pack. So when you have the graduated bowls, you can kind of go every other bowl will all fit into each other with the padding, and then the ones in between will fit together nicely in the padding. With this sort of not set, it was really awkward to get them out of their cases, and then it was awkward to pack them back in because they don't fit correctly. It's this awkward size differential. So that's one of the other reasons, just for packing. It's easier to break them if you have sizes that are too close to each other. You know, if you don't want them to like press up against each other and crack, right? You want a little room for padding. So this is making that more difficult for this person's bowls and for them just in general. The other reason why you want, and I already mentioned it, was making sure that they're tuned correctly. I'll play the first few and it's going to sound kind of nice. Then it's going to get weird. Do you hear how awful that is? Yeah, and the weird thing is, you think it's the B, it's actually the A that is so sharp that it makes the B sound off. The B isn't actually too bad. which then also makes it difficult for you to kind of figure out if you need to replace a bowl. Wait a minute, which is the one that doesn't sound good? If you just try to buy them all at once. And save your receipt, because if you do break one, and this is the other reason I don't particularly love the crystal bowls, is everyone has a story about breaking a bowl and you have to replace something. At least you can go back to the original manufacturer and give them the information that you had when you bought it, and they will send you the right bowl. You'll still have to pay for it, but at least it's gonna be the right bowl. The other thing I want to talk about is quality of the bowls. So when we were testing these, not a single one, I think maybe one was kind of like pretty well tuned. Maybe it was one, but all of the other sixes were either sharp or flat, and so they just don't sound as good as they could. They also make it harder to collaborate with other people. So my friend filming this is a violinist.
Yes.
And we were actually going to use these bowls to see what we could do with like sound bath with violin, and it doesn't work because the bowls are not well tuned, and obviously her violin is well tuned because she can adjust it however she needs it to. So that's one of the other reasons why it's better off to wait and save up for your bowls. The container says Crystal Tones. I understand Crystal Tones to actually be a very high-end company. I'm kind of thinking that this doesn't actually match the bowls that are in it. Because I believe they have a gallery in Mount Shasta, which I have been to, and they were really wonderful bowls. So I kind of think that maybe this person just bought these cases. I don't believe them to be Crystal Tones quality. Maybe they make a low-end one. I don't know. I haven't really looked on their website, but I guess it doesn't really matter who made them. You get what you pay for. If you can go somewhere and actually play the bowls before you buy instead of buying them online, that is really ideal. I understand not everyone can do it, but maybe you can find a seller who can like video chat with you, because these should cost somewhere between like $1,200 and $2,200, something like that. I could be off a little bit. It's been a minute since I've looked at these. You definitely don't want the $200 crap off Temu. I think I see them on Amazon as well. And I have a friend who has a set, and they're fine, but it makes it more difficult to play with other people. And it also it makes it more difficult to make a nice soundscape for your customers, your clients, whoever else you're working with. So that's the thing about the bowl quality. I also want to talk about something I think I mentioned, and if I didn't, I was trained in piano, and one of the things we have to talk about a lot in piano, and probably any instrument, certainly drumming, is touch response. So you can take this, and I have been at sound baths where someone takes these little mallets, and I'm not going to do it because I don't want to break the bowl, but like they're hitting them way too hard. And when you strike it that hard, it is too loud. It kind of makes this ear-splitting sound. If you're fighting against other sounds, like you're on a busy road and there's a lot of traffic, or one of the places I'm at right now is next to a workout studio, we had to just adjust the time of the sound baths to not correspond with the time of the workouts, and they're like kind of pumping rock music, because you can't play these louder. Maybe there's you can play them a little softer, you can play them a little louder. You cannot get the volume that you're gonna need to drown out rock music at the workout studio next door. It's gonna be ear splitting, it's gonna be unpleasant. You're not gonna be relaxed, your clients are certainly not gonna be relaxed. I have heard so many horror stories from so many people about so many practitioners hitting the bowls too hard. Also goes for the Tibetan bowls, but it's somehow more ear-splitting with the crystal bowls. I think they're just, they're both sensitive instruments, but these are sensitive in a different sort of way. So the last thing I want to talk about, in the same vein, These are the three most common strikers that you're going to find. And from what I understand, this middle one, at least this was what I was taught when I was taking classes on these. It's this hollow tube. I'm not sure. I think it's maybe some sort of PVC, some sort of plasticky or fiberglass type thing. And then it's wrapped in suede. Sometimes it's only wrapped on the end. This one is wrapped all the way around, which kind of makes it easier to work with. Actually, I'm going to go back. So frosted bowls, which is what these are going to be scratchy. And most people will tell you to just ditch these and buy the silicone ones, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. These do have a use. I'm going to show you why people say not to use them. So hopefully the camera picks up that this is super scratchy. You can hear it almost as much as the tone on this bowl, at least in person. So that's what people tell you not to use them. It's definitely better on a smooth bowl, just because you don't have this friction that you're working against. The silicone ones, and I understand these to be more expensive, but buy them, buy two. It's worth it. When we were in the class, the first class ever, she had us comparing these two, and the silicone one was just night and day difference. Even on the frosted bowls, it's still gonna scratch, which is why I still don't recommend the frosted bowls, but you're gonna hear it's not, hopefully you'll hear it's not as strong. Do you hear how the tone comes through much more clearly? The scratch is still there, but it's more in the background. So if you want to play them like this, you absolutely need the silicone ones. I don't know of a better option. I don't think they're that expensive. It's like maybe $30 or something. It used to be. If you're spending thousands of dollars on your bowls, what's $30 to make them sound good, right? These have a great use, however, the cheapies that they send you with the sets, and that is gently striking the rim. You can get these nice, clear tones. And I think having the hollow striker is what really helps with that, because it's sort of a softer, less rigid striker. With drums, it's the same thing. If anyone's played drums, if you have a wooden striker, it's just so harsh. The minute you wrap that thing in, even just a little bit of leather, is going to totally change the timbre of the drum, and that's very much true with these two. This is something I've played very little with, but I've noticed they become very common. I assume it's silicone or some sort of rubber, but they're these little mallets, and you can use them to strike, but, and this is the error that I have just heard so much lately, people wail on the bowls with these strikers, and just because it's rubber, you can still crack that thing. Even if you don't crack it, you're going to crack my eardrums and everyone else's. I'm not going to do it, but you can just hear. They're trying to play loudly to counteract something, or maybe their ears just aren't that well tuned. I don't know. They just don't have an ear for music. But in which case they probably shouldn't even be here, but that's another story for another day that we just won't go into. But it goes back to that. Don't try to make the bowls louder just because, someone's talking outside or something like that. I was in another situation recently where someone brought their kids to the front office and the kids were making a racket while I was in the studio doing a sound bath for a bunch of people. It was horrible. It's going to happen. Just know it's going to happen. Your gong is really good for when that happens. Have a gong or 2 or 6. And when you start hearing that, just shift to the gongs and it'll be much louder, and it'll be a lot easier for your clients to tune out the kids or traffic or whatever noise, the exercise studios, rock music, other things as well. I've seen and heard it all, but no, I don't even want to say that out loud. Never say that out loud, because if you're tempting fate. So yeah, I guess going back to these, nice, I'm going to do it in the front just so you can see it, just a nice gentle. it's attractive, right? It's slightly different than this. Not very. Again, the crystal bowls are very kind of monotone, almost like electronic music to my ear. But there is a slight difference. And maybe some people just find these easier to play than using this striker. So it might just be a personal preference thing too. It's a little bit of a different sound, but yeah. But we don't wail on the bowls. We don't want to break the bowls. We don't want to break people's eardrums. We want to pack them nicely. We want to buy good quality bowls, and we want bowls that are all graduated in size so that we can just quickly and easily lay them out, and that's one less thing you have to think about when you're getting ready for a sound bath. If you have any questions, let me know. Leave them in the comments. Thanks for watching.